So I'm making this video, and this video is what if Verdenis from the makeshift campaign. First, you need to understand who Verdenis is and the Dragon Within for me to answer the question and explain it. After I realized that I can possibly have my community skin in game, I didn't have a skin idea, so I decided to commission addlilly. I ended up commissioning addlilly, and this is the result. The design based off Jakayla and the Jawbreaker and mixing the design together, and this is the output. I want to give a fun fact is that a lot of people believe the Dragon Within was made because of Verdenis, and there's a no. The Dragon Within was made, and even the name was never given to him. Around the time I got commissioned to do an English project of the Dragon Within, pretty much making my own story being the Dragon Within. Over time, yada yada, let it kind of skip to the point. areos ended up becoming a new co-owner of the show and is currently making character designs for Veda. Pretty much it's about a kid named Veda where every time he gets upset, he gets angry. Now, if you read the original book, you do know that he goes up to the Dragon Lord and he said he wanted to name the dragon being Verdenis. Now, that name was very important for later because this is to describe how Verdenis was made. I eventually decided to get the name for the dragon, changing the character to being Verdenis. I originally imagined Veda becoming Verdenis as that dragon. However, over time, Verdenis became more of a better concept as their own character. And there's a lot of concept of showing who and what he's going to look like in the show The Dragon Within. So the question is, why am I telling you this? Well, the first reason, because now that we know The Dragon Within, you're going to understand more about the makeshift campaign and how it will work. Also, forgot to mention too that Veda has a friend named Carl and Scarlet, but I don't want to give out the whole entire show away. They're not out yet, but it's again for an upcoming indie show. Well, I mentioned this in my post, but pretty much it will be a mix of Mr. P and AJ Pekka. Probably will have a lot more content, and I'll explain why. So let's go over it tier for tier. Build mode events. This is a pretty hard one. Not that I inherently to say the Dragon Within wouldn't fit in a traditional build mode setting, but I feel like for an event, I feel like a good event will probably be, in my opinion, the either Verdenis NPC, but I'll explain that later, but I think it would be cool to have a candle concept. Or a time event. Piggy doesn't want to have them with timed events. So I think it would be cool that you have to get a certain amount of items in a certain amount of time, or if you don't, you have to fill and restart the whole entire event. For this, I think it would be cool for candles. We have to get different candles. You have to be able to use that as an item, and then the event is this type of door. And then putting all the candles inside the door, you do it. If you fail, then one more you're out of time, and you have to redo the whole entire thing again. Build more Survivor skin. This is going to be really to Carl and Scarlet. It's really not difficult because, again, no characters are just normally human. They're pretty easy to have as a Build more Survivor skin. There are humans, though, but hey. Ability. This one is a pretty hard one. It took me a lot of consideration, and I feel like people are going to think this is overpowered, but hear me out. I call it the Dragon Flying ability. So this ability is you get the gifted of flying for 3 seconds. They can work like that. During those 3 seconds, you're able to go across a plague temporary to get an item. However, though, to make it balanced, it can only be used once per round. So you really got quite it. Like, it really will only be good for certain stuff too. You also will be able to glide. So for example, if you're about to fall to your death, you're able to glide. That prevents you from actually full-on dying from impact. Besides, AJ is going to revamp the game, so now you get damage instead of actually full-on dying anyway. So I feel like it will go incline with them. Alternate trap skin. I feel like a good alternate trap for... I have an idea for original traps, so I'll go over both. But for alternate trap, I'm definitely thinking it could definitely fit a lot more for alarm trap. My idea that it will be a mini or ginormous dragon that bites. Then they have a bite animation. Something like that alerts Verdenis or the player to getting near you. Alternate skin. Now this one is pretty easy for me. The alternate skin will be Jawbreaker and Jakayla for 2 reasons. For one, their designs are based off a mixture between Jawbreaker and Jakayla, so I think it will be a cool full circle moment. For 2, they're the closest lizards and dragons. Jawbreaker being a Komodo dragon, Jakayla being a full-on mud dragon. And because Verdenis is a dragon, it will be cool to have Jawbreaker in Verdenis color scheme, and Jakayla more of a darker green than normal green. That will lead to a quest to get the Verdenis skin, but I do want to talk about the trap. The trap, in my opinion, is a fire trap. For it will be like a mini little dragon with their mouth closed. Upon stepping on the trap, their mouth open and will spit out fire. So it'll look kind of like a claw shaped thing. This will slowly draw the player's health for every 3 seconds. However, to keep it balanced, you are able to find a fire signature in any parts on the map, no matter what. It is based on RNG though to put out the fire, but also it can be gone by disarm ability or also just by the timer. And if let's just say it's still unfair for the piggy side, they can also reduce the time. The Dragon would say I have a lot more characters, so I feel like a season format would be way better. Instead of the Mr. P campaign with just original skins, but that's the end of the video. It's a pretty short one, but I did want to do this what if concept.